Yeah. Once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the House Light Kitchen Sinks. Now, before I get into today's video, if you will, I want y'all to jump in the comment section. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Let me know your city, your state, your hood, your set, whatever it may be that you're representing. Let it be known. Now, with all that being said, to wrap all of that up into one single nutshell, there is a message. And this is a very, very serious message. You know, you had a situation that had taken place, and I'm going to pin the video, the story, if you will, in the comment section, just in case, you know, some people haven't actually heard of this story yet. But he got the young man, Hamilton County, Ohio. I'm assuming that's Cincinnati. Shout out to the 513. Shout out to the old Ohio. The entire Ohio. Shout out to you, man. You got an 18-year-old young man, Ryan Hinton. He found himself in a situation that you just shouldn't be in. He was in a stolen vehicle, stolen Kia, allegedly. He got a phone call. The police, received a phone call, if you will, about this stolen vehicle. And so the police came out to, I guess to investigate. 4 young men that were in the vehicle, they see the police. What do? They take off running. It's typically what most kids are going to do when they see the police. Not condoning being in a stolen vehicle, allegedly. Not condoning taking off running from the police, allegedly. But it's just a common thing that most kids are going to do, especially young black kids. According to the video that they released in the press, police arrived. As I mentioned, kids take off running. The police immediately begin to chase these kids. Talking about a stolen vehicle now. They begin to chase these kids. And allegedly, supposedly, this 18-year-old kid that was running had a gun. Supposedly. As he's running from the police officer, he falls to the ground. As he falls to the ground, one of the police officers stated that they heard like a metal sound, a clinking sound. Ryan immediately jumped back up, proceeded to run. The officer stated that he still had this gun in his hand, but he turned and faced the officer pointing the gun at him. At that point, you can hear on the on one of the videos, he has a gun, he has a gun. That's the police favorite thing to say. He has a gun, he has a gun. Officer fires several times, striking the young man in the chest and in the arm. By the time the ambulance got there, it was too late. The young man was unalived. They jump out and they say in the media that the officers attempted to render aid. The same officers that unalived this young man. The same officers that contributed to this young man being unalive. He has a gun, he has a gun. Attempted to render aid. As one could imagine, his father's furious. His dad, Rodney Hinton, is furious. How can you blame him? He knows his son. My son wouldn't be pointing no gun at no police. He goes to the police station. He's able to view the actual footage from the body cam. His dad, Rodney, understands and he sees that the police are putting out a totally different account from what really happened. Yes, my son was on the tape running, trying to get away. And again, not condoning, running from the police, because it is a crime. But at no point did his young son, Ryan, point the gun, according to the body cam, point the gun at the police officer. You see, the police came out and said that as he was running away, now think about this, as he's running away from the police, that he approaches the police. Now, how you run away and approach the police? Now, I understand that there were several different officers on the scene, so I guess if you get away from one, you may run into another one. Okay, that's understandable. So when you're getting away from this police officer and then you see another one, they made it like he approached the police and came towards him with the gun in his hand, pointing the gun at the police officer, which in turn gave the police officer probable cause to unalive this young man. As I mentioned, Rodney's at the police station, his father. The tape totally contradicts what these officers have stated to the public. Rodney's not having it. His father's not having it. Nah, man. Nah. Y'all been doing this for too long. Y'all been wiping us off the face of this earth for too long and getting away with it. Y'all been wiping us off the face of this earth for so long. It's on video. It's on camera. It's blatantly obvious. And y'all still get away with murder. Clearly obvious, but you all still get away with murder. Not my son. I ain't doing no marching. I ain't doing no rioting. I'm quite sure that it's going to hit the fan. I'm not doing no "we shall overcome one day." No, I'm not doing none of that. Not about mine. This was the mind frame that obviously Rodney was in. He's driving his vehicle. He sees a state, I guess it was a state trooper. He was patrolling traffic or something to the, of the sorts. Larry Henderson. Send my condolences to Larry Henderson, R.I.P., his family, loved ones. He had nothing to do with this unfortunate incident whatsoever. He was directing traffic, And allegedly, Rodney takes his vehicle and crashes into the deputy. Allegedly. I have to say allegedly because a lot of these things I don't know to be 100% factual. I'm only going off of, excuse me, y'all, what I've been able to, observe and hear, just like anyone else that's been following this story. He gets arrested. He doesn't run. Yeah, I did it. He gets arrested. He's charged with murder. My take on this entire situation, I don't condone violence upon anybody, on anyone, especially someone that had absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever, who's just out there working, trying to, feed his family. He's on the job, you're trying to feed your family. So again, I don't condone any sort of violence under any circumstances, unless it just really, really comes to that. It's unfortunate that what happened to that deputy that had nothing to do with it whatsoever. But at the same time, the same token, how much more are we supposed to take? It's like it continues to happen over and over and over and over again. You got these police officers that's unaliving kids. You got these police officers that's unaliving pregnant women, young pregnant women. You got these police officers that's just unaliving people just simply because they can. And then they come back and say that they fear for their safety. They thought it was a weapon involved. I guess the only problem is, in a lot of the cases, there was never a weapon involved. What about the officer that, and I'm going to have to look this case up because I haven't really heard anything about it as of late. What about the officer that the lady called the police, thought that she heard something outside of her door? They tell her, instruct her to cut the boiling water off of the stove. They tell her, ma'am, could you please, turn that stove off? She does what the police officers tell her to do. And then the officer shoots her in the face. He tells her he's going to shoot her. Ma'am, I'm going to shoot you in your face. And proceeds to shoot her in the face. His defense, he was afraid for his life. He was afraid that she was going to take this big pot of boiling water and throw it way across the room, striking him with it. So he does as promised and shoots her in the face. You have these sort of catastrophes, unfortunate situations that just continuously occur. Doesn't seem as though it's getting any better. Think about it. These things have been going on for years. Nobody believed us. Now you see it. You're able to see it right there in color. Not even black and white, in color. On video. But yet, they continue to unalive us. What about the situation where they had the man held down? Yeah, he was resisting. But who was in danger? You got 4 or 5 officers holding him down. He's in cuffs. Hands behind his back. They're trying to restrain the man. But his hands are behind his back, cuffed. You got 4 or 5 officers. What does the lady go and do? Can't remember her name off the top of my head. What does she do? Reach for her pistol and blast the man in the back. Her defense, she thought it was her taser. Believe she ended up getting like 2 years in prison. What about Breonna Taylor? That was just in her house, minding her business. Never had a criminal record a day in her life. And even if she did, she wasn't bothering anybody. She's in her house, minding her business. Police get a call, what have you. They come in, busting in the door unannounced, firing, shooting. Breonna Taylor, unalived. What was their defense? The boyfriend had a gun. Well, if you bust in somebody's house and you don't announce yourself and they don't know who you are, quite naturally, you're going to go into defense mode. What about Trayvon Martin? that was just jogging in the neighborhood. But because it wasn't supposedly his neighborhood, he looked out of place in this neighborhood. You got an individual, what's his name, Zimmerman, that wanted to play police. And the people tell him, the 911 lady tells him, ma'am, sir, do not approach this individual. Allow the police to come and handle that situation. Do not approach this individual. Allow the police. Zimmerman's defense, he was afraid. The neighborhood was in danger. The neighborhood was in jeopardy. Now, I understand that Zimmerman wasn't actually a law official, but at the same time, the law officials see exactly what's going on. But it don't seem like they too much care. What about George Floyd's killer? What's his name? Derek Chauvin? Sure, he was convicted, but he's only given 22 years. He'll see the streets again if he makes it out. I know they poked him 22 times. So if he makes it out, but they're doing everything that they can do to protect this man in prison, to make sure that his prison experience is as smooth as possible. I can go on and on and on. The young man, I believe, up in Ohio, had a little bit too much to drink. What did they tell you when you, first of all, you shouldn't be getting behind the wheel, period, when you've been drinking. I understand that. Had a little bit too much to drink. What did they tell you? Feel like you've had too much to drink and you already dropped, don't get behind the wheel. He decides to take him a little nap. The Wendy's parking lot. I'm going to sleep this off instead of driving drunk, risking harming someone else. Police is called. Yeah, we have a man in the car, not doing anything, not bothering anyone, but someone called the police. There's always going to be some people that's going to call the police for absolutely no reason. Police come. I believe the young man ended up having like a warrant or something like that. Nothing, it was something minor. Guess he wasn't trying to go to jail at night. He takes off running. No weapon, no threat whatsoever. Nah, they didn't just tase him. They fired on him. Unalived him. You have a lot of people that feel as though what Rodney did was justifiable. After all, as I've mentioned several times, they've been doing this to us for years and years and years. See, when they take one of us, it's I was afraid. But when you do something to one of them, it's a manhunt for you. Again, I don't condone violence. Mr. Larry Henderson had absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever. Totally innocent. But at the same time, look at how many of us that they continuously take that have been and that are totally innocent. You see, if you're not against the problem, you're with the problem. You're supporting the problem. And I'm assuming that Rodney felt as though, okay, I can't get my hands on these individuals that actually did this to my son because they're going to protect that deputy that did this. They're going to put him on a paid leave. Let it die down until the next unaliving happens. Let it die down in the media. He'll probably end up beating it like so many of them do. You clearly lied and said that the young man was pointing a gun, but there's no evidence of that whatsoever. And Rodney was protecting his son. I may not get you, but I'm going to get one of y'all. And I believe something like this is going to cause a ripple effect. You're going to see more and more of these occurrences happening. Again, I don't condone violence. You see people going into these schools, unaliving innocent kids. You see people going into churches, unaliving innocent people that are just there to get their praise on. You see people going to grocery stores, just start shooting big crowds, driving into big crowds, running people over, shooting into big crowds. Football games, high school sports. You see these things taking place, but you never see an individual walk into the police station and do any of those sort of activities. Again, I wouldn't suggest anyone do anything of the sorts because I don't condone violence. But it's just interesting when you look at that. You're doing these things to all innocent people that haven't done anything to you. Going to your job when you get fired or whatever, and you shooting up the place. People that ain't even have nothing to do with you getting fired. But yet the people that are doing the main dirt, the main criminals, nothing ever happens to them. Rodney wasn't going out like that, man. Took mine. You took mine, my son, for no reason. It wasn't even warranted. So now I'm going to take one of you bitches. I'm quite sure that was the mind frame that Rodney had at the time. Look at the video of him in court as he's leaving the courtroom, and he walks out head high. All the deputies was in there, deep, supporting him. Look at how they looking at him. Look at the look on Rodney's face. Head high, chin up. Mugged every last one of them. Oh, they wanted to kill that nigga. But they say in Django, I came over the hill to kill a nigga. Oh, they wanted to hang that nigga. Again, I don't condone violence by any stretch of the imagination. In that jail, in that penitentiary in Ohio, whatever penitentiary he ends up, Ross or whatever penitentiary that he ends up in Ohio, because they're going to try to stretch him out, man. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to hit him with the death penalty. If Ohio has a death penalty, I'm not really sure. I know a lot of states have abolished it or whatnot. They're going to say it was premeditated, it was thought out. Rodney's defense is going to be, I wasn't in my right frame of mind, man. I wasn't thinking clearly. My son had just gotten unalived by police, so the only thing I seen was just officer. The only thing I seen was just blue or whatever fuck color that they were, respectfully. So I wasn't in my right frame of mind. I'm sorry that this individual, Mr. Larry Henderson, ended up being unalive when he didn't have anything to do with it. But I wasn't thinking clearly. I just lost my son. Murdered. Cold blood, man. He got a gun, he got a gun. And every time you hear that, you just hear multiple shots that are going to be fired. I was afraid for my safety, but there's no gun on the scene. But I thought that I seen something, but there's no gun on the scene. How are you so afraid? You scared to go to church. You're a police officer, man. You know, not to say that you're not a human being and you don't have emotions and you don't have... But if you're that afraid, what are you doing being a police officer? As I was saying, in the penitentiary system, in the jail, he's going to be a hero. He's not going to have no problems, one would assume. Even the white dudes are going to respect what he did. The Mexicans, the blacks, they're going to respect what he did. I'm not saying that you just go around here unaliving people, especially individuals that didn't have anything to do with anything. Because after all, I don't condone violence. But it's just seeming that at this point, we get done wrong so much. You kill my dog, guess what? I'm going to come back and kill your cat. It's not the best of mentalities to have, because that'll end you up in penitentiary for the rest of your life. But a lot of us are sick and tired of being sick and tired. A lot of us feel as though you're not going to do anything about it. It's proven. What Fleece Johnson say is documented. It's documented. You all are not going to do anything about it. You all condone these officers' behavior. You condone it. Why you don't see officers whenever they are charged? Most of the time they get off with a slap on the wrist. Why you don't never see them facing the death penalty? Why you always see them get out on bond? But yet when one of us do something, we in jail with no bond. Or a bond that's so high, you might as well not have a bond. $5 million bond. But one of them do something, $20,000 bond, $50,000 bond, in which you pay 10% of that in most places. So you're getting out, essentially not paying anything. Why is that? Why is it justified when they do something because of that blue uniform that they have on, they're protected? But on the flip side, when something happens to one of them, the individuals that's done it or that was alleged to have done it is an absolute animal. And again, I don't condone violence. I just have some questions. These are just a few of the questions that I have. You know, it was some months ago, and I had a prosecutor that she watches my channel, and she actually emailed me. And she was asking me some questions, and basically she was saying, accusing me rather, of having a problem with the system, having a problem with authority, having a problem with police and prosecutors and judges. And I told her, I said, Miss Prosecutor, because I'm quite sure it's a fact, she didn't use her real name, obviously. Not sure where she was from. Haven't heard from her since. I did respond to her. I responded by making a video. And I went on to explain to her that it's not that I have a problem with any of that. You need police. If someone's trying to break into my mom's house or my daughter's house, or I want the police to come ASAP and save them, keep them safe and protect them. To protect and to serve, isn't that the saying, the motto, the term, whatever that they use? To protect and to serve. Not keep killing innocent black people for no reason. Half them dudes is racist. They have a license, they have a badge to kill. Now you got some good ones. And those are the ones that I respect. You have some good judges. You got some good, decent prosecutors. I haven't seen many of those, but I'm sure that there's some decent ones. But then you also got some, the majority of them are overzealous. They don't care whether the individual's innocent. Nah, they just want that conviction under their belt. You have some judges that can't wait to give a nigga 100 years. Despite what the evidence shows. Send you to the death chamber. How many people are executed or put to death that haven't even done the crime that they were put to death for? Should have never even been on death row. Never even should have been arrested. Man does 17, 25, 30 years in prison. DNA exonerates him. Doesn't even get an apology. Unfortunately, the system isn't perfect. No money, no nothing. Yeah, you got something to get out and sue, and they get a couple million. But what's a couple $1 million when you done spent 30 years in prison for something that you didn't do? Police officers just pulling people over, planting, saying that they found a gun, saying that they found dope. See, those are the ones that I don't like. And so I said, Miss Prosecutor, I have a question for you. How do you sleep at night? How do you sleep every night knowing that you just throwing people in jail, knowing that individuals that can't afford these attorneys, these high-priced attorneys, they're having to take 15, 20, 30-year plea deals because they don't want to take a chance of getting life by going to trial with a public pretender. My bad, public defender. Respectfully. Never heard anything back from her. Not sure if she continues to watch the channel or not. But I have a lot of law enforcement that watch the channel. COs, correctional officers. A lot of them is jerks too. A lot of them come to work upset and mad because really they wanted to be a police officer, but they couldn't really cut it. A lot of them was nerds in school. Never had no girls. Couldn't make the basketball team. But now they put that blue uniform on and they feel as though they're somebody. And I'm not speaking about, because actually there's a lot of good COs, got a lot of good police officers. I'm only speaking about the overzealous ones. And they comment all the time, Kens, I'm a correctional officer. I treat people, well, and I never have any problem outside of the jail. Had a state trooper just send me a message the other day, or a comment. How do you feel about state troopers? Have you had any issues with state troopers before? Had multiple attorneys. Even had a judge one time. I'm not sure if he was really a judge. That's what he said. I tell them all, man, if as long as you're doing your job and you're not abusing your authority, I have no problem with it whatsoever. It's only the jerks that are trying to make your life more miserable than it already is. Well, come on, Kens. If you don't commit crimes, then you don't have to worry about any of these things. Guess what? A lot of people don't commit crimes, and they're still having to go through them. What crime did 18-year-old Ryan Hinton commit? Other than running? Yeah, he ran. It's a misdemeanor running from the police on foot. Didn't run in the vehicle. It's a misdemeanor to run from the police on foot in Kentucky anyway. And even if it is a felony somewhere, it probably gets broken down. Kid didn't have no criminal record. And what happened to him? He's no longer with us. At the hands of the police once again, rather. I'm going to say it again. I don't condone violence. But enough is enough. Enough is enough. And until we start to fight back, other than just marching, and until people see that, hold on, these people, they're not taking this anymore. We're not gonna take it. No, we're not gonna take it. Until they see that, they're gonna continue to unalive us. Whether it's on camera or it's not. Once again, I send my condolences to the Hinton family. Ryan Hinton. Rodney Hinton, I don't know you. Keep your head up, bro. I feel your pain. I think we all feel your pain. I know they got a GoFundMe up for him. People got a problem with that. But when y'all do it, it's A-okay. Trying to get that taken down. When y'all do it, it's all good. I'm going to try to find a link to that GoFundMe and pin it in the comment section, if I can find it. Once again, a condolence out to the Larry Henderson family, deputy that lost his life, that had absolutely nothing to do with this whatsoever. But once again, if you're not, if you condone what your fellow officers are doing, and obviously you condone it because you're a fellow officer, then you're just as guilty as them, if you ask me, in my opinion. If I see somebody doing something to a child, or doing something to anybody, and I just ignore it, no, I didn't do it, I know that it's not right, but I'm going to just ignore it and turn a blind eye at it, I'm just as guilty as the individuals that are doing it, man. Sad situation, man. Hug your kids, man. Because when they walk out the door, you don't know if they're coming back. You have no clue if these kids are going to make it back home. Just be walking down the street. You know, these kids like to wear these hoodies in the summertime, and he fits the suspect. Or he fits the description, rather. He had his hands in his pocket. He had something in his hand. It was just a cell phone. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. And you fire off 100 rounds. And to add insult to injury, get put on paid leave. Never even get charged, and if you do get charged, you beat it. Real Kens TV, man. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that post notification. Anytime I bring you this action and this is heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive, man.